All right. Joining me on the third episode of Rappin on the Rangers. It's Rangers Insider, Jared Sandler. Jared, what's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, Kev? How's it going, man?
Good, man. The Rangers have won 7 out of their last 9 ball games as they get ready to play a series against the San Diego Padres at home for a couple of games and travel to San Diego to take on former Texas Ranger coach Jayce Tingler. And I know he has had a really good relationship with this organization for a long time. What does it mean for him to have an opportunity as a first-time manager to play against his old ball club?
I think it's awesome. I spoke to Jayce recently. I speak to him regularly. I know that he's been excited about this. Jayce is someone who his rise is, I guess, what you would maybe say more traditional. But even with that in mind, it's still incredibly blue collar. I mean, he was not a star player. He has probably had just about every role someone can have climbing the ladder, and went through the hiring process the year prior, was a finalist for the Twins job, didn't get it. And I think a lot of us are really excited that he got this opportunity, but incredibly passionate person. Again, like super hardworking. Like this is like the guy that's going to wake up at, like, he's like, hey, like, you want to work out in the morning? Sure. Yeah. And like, you're thinking like 7:30, maybe like, 6:30, if like we're feeling a little extra energetic, like, okay, I'll see you at 4:30. Like, that's just like, that's the type of, he's one of these guys. Like he's very disciplined, regimented, as far as like having like a hard work ethic, but very open-minded and curious about learning about the game. And I have zero shame or hesitation in saying that my second favorite team in Major League Baseball, because of AJ Preller and Jayce Tingler, two really close friends, of the Padres. And I feel that strongly about Jayce and AJ, and certainly hope that they are able to make their way to the World Series.
And they are bringing in one of the bright young stars of the game, and Fernando Tatis Jr., who's been tearing the cover off the baseball. When you think about not just him and the young stars around the game, how is the overall health of the game when you think about not just the Rangers and how they're continuing to play, but the overall health of the game, especially given what we've been dealing with over the last several months here?
Well, I'd say that it's certainly a lot healthier than during that period leading up to the deadline to come to an agreement. And I'd say just within the season and the likelihood of the season finishing, it looks a lot better today than it did 2 weeks ago. So, I think sports are resilient, and you can be mad at sports all you want, but it's kind of like your parents or your family, like you're always going to come back to them. Baseball certainly can grow, and guys like Fernando Tatis Jr. will be a part of the solution if baseball takes advantage of it, the way they should. He's an incredibly bright young talent. He appeals to so many. He's a Dominican-born player who speaks English, which I know that in a sport that's as diverse as baseball is in terms of languages, certainly can become way more diverse from like a black and white standpoint. But you got like a lot of really talented Hispanic players, but not all of them, and it's not their fault. They don't speak English very well, so it's tough. When you have a guy like Tatis, who, gosh, is maybe like, if you were to have a draft today amongst GMs, like maybe if you didn't feel strongly about Mike Trout's health, maybe he's the first overall pick, but he's certainly a top 5 pick. And there's no reason to not feel strongly about Mike Trout's health. And I don't want to put that jinx on him because he is so amazing to watch. But Fernando Tatis Jr. is not far behind. And I think that more guys like that who play the game with passion and personality, and we embrace, like, you shouldn't hit a home run and the first thing that you think about is, gosh, let me like remain calm because I don't want to piss off that old crotchety guy in the other dugout. Like, no, like, let's have fun playing the game. Let's be great at it. Let's respect the game, but let's have fun. And that's what guys like Fernando Tatis Jr. do, and I think it's great for baseball.
Well, speaking of guy who's having some fun right now for the Texas Rangers, Derek Dietrich has been a shot in the arm for the Texas Rangers since he has come over to this baseball team. and has provided a bit of a spark for a team, as I mentioned, 7-2 in their last 9. What has he meant to not just the Rangers, but the overall, I guess, way that this team goes about its business daily since he has been there? It seems like he's infused a lot of energy with this baseball team.
Yeah, I think so. That's going to have to continue to translate into results, obviously. And candidly, he didn't play really well yesterday at all. Didn't really do much of the play, but like defensively was very poor. But I think that, if you use him in the right spots, then there's a reason why this guy was available. You always have to ask that why. Why – it's not like the Rangers just found some all-star player, right? Like with Hunter Pence, he became an all-star last year, but he had a horrible previous year and then really recommitted himself over the offseason. And like it's not a likelihood, but you can kind of, fill in the blanks there. With Derek Dietrich, he's probably a guy who's best used in spots, not to play 145 games a year at this point. So I think that he can help provide the Rangers with some power and, an offensive punch, especially against righties. And obviously you face more righties than lefties. Defensively he's not really going to help. And I think the hope is that he just doesn't hurt. But, throughout it, like, if we're being honest, like that's a legitimate question. So he's energetic. He's got a chain. He wears eye black no matter what. His jersey doesn't fit. He wears a medium. And he does have a lot of personality, and that's fun, and we gravitate towards those guys. But, that honeymoon ends really quickly when you're not producing, and they're going to need him to, be not a crucial middle of the order bat, but if he can add some lineup depth and maybe hit one out every once in a while, then, that would be an upgrade. Not, thinking linearly in one specific position, but that would help this lineup that has struggled here out of the gates.
As we get ready to let you get out of here, a guy who has been under the microscope for a long time and has been under recent fire more lately just because of his lack of production. How can we get Rougned Odor to turn this thing around for the Rangers?
Yeah. It seems like he was more comfortable, against the Rockies, but again, I don't know what that means. I think with Rugi, here's the thing, and it's not an easy thing to – it's a tough thing for these guys to have. And I remember Chris Woodward said last year that, one of the things that separates the greats, guys like Mike Trout and Fernando Tatis Jr., and, pick a player you believe to be one of the best in baseball, is that they're there, right? Like, this is a video, so if for whatever reason you're not paying attention, look at the video now. They're at this level. They're at a really high level. And everyone else is at this level. But they still keep pursuing higher and higher levels. There was a player last year, and this story was told to me privately, so I won't mention his name, but it's a great example. It's a player who's had a nice career, not someone with the Rangers organization, who's had a nice career, but I mean, not, I think he, maybe an all-star once, but like not, gosh, I mean, there's still room for improvement. And when he was struggling, he was asked about it, and the player said, "Oh, my numbers are my numbers. Like I'm gonna eventually, like, I've proven year after year that I'm gonna become this player, that player." Which a lot of guys, that's accurate.
Yeah.
But then the question, well, but why are you satisfied only being that player? And it's not that Rugi's satisfied at all, but I think with a lot of players, it is important for them to always have the mindset of, like, not just competing at their current level. Like Rugi, I think, does a great job, whether the results are there or not, of like competing his tail off. I know that no one likes to give him credit for anything, but this guy competes his tail off. But now it's about turning that competitive fire and putting it in his head, like being curious always. How can I keep getting better and better and better, and allowing you to build on things is what Rugi's career has been. It's been about streaks, but now it's about elevating your game, and I think that's the next step for Rugi.
We'll see if he turns it around, especially here soon, because they're going to need him in this next 40 games to be much more productive going forward. That's Rangers insider Jared Sandler right here on Rappin on the Rangers episode 3. Jared, I appreciate the time, my man. Thank you.
Do I need to prepare a rap next time?
You can if you would like to. That would help. That would help out. Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
All right, let's do it.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
You got it.